Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemanly ladies, my LGBTQ family, what's happening? Where you living? What you doing? Where you heading? Welcome to a session of Coffee with Dragon. Of course, an unedited video. So what we're saying over coffee is from the heart, hopefully balanced by the mind, and want to discuss maybe 3 topics. First, want to discuss, if you don't know, you will know, about my initiative called Dragan versus Trump. What's that? That is my challenge to Donald Trump, the President of the United States of America, to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border in a ring made of Canadian aluminum and steel and paid by him. You might wonder, how come aluminum and steel? Well, that's the whole point. As you see, Mr. Donald Trump imposed tariffs of 25% on Canadian steel and 10% on Canadian steel 3 months ago. A very aberrant, bad for business, disrespectful, un-American thing to do with us Canadians here up north in North America. So thus have begun the initiative Dragan versus Trump. So I'm challenging him over the tariffs on the Canadian-US border, half of a rink, the rink. I'm calling for him to pay for a rink made of Canadian aluminum and steel. We'll be in contact with the Canadian Steel and Aluminum Association in order to make him a good arrangement, a good deal over the rink. And well, we will fight, of course, over the tariffs. If I win, of course, the tariffs get annulled. Conditions for him winning are gonna be a gift of maple syrup, the amount that I'm gonna weigh at the time of the bout. Have officially put my hair for auction, starting at 37 Canadian dollars or 33 American dollars, in order to put ahead to finance, to make our part to finance the Dragan versus Trump initiative, for press conferences, for other such events or other things related to the initiative, of course. You can check it out, facebook.com groups, Dragan, Dragan VSTRUMP, Dragan versus Trump, Facebook groups. I've already composed a song which I'm officially calling on Kanye West, Drake, and Rihanna to collaborate with me. Somehow the chorus goes like this: build the ring, build the ring, build the ring. So I want you to scream in the streets to let people know, let even your mother know, your father know, your cousin of the cousin, your friends, let them know about Dragan versus Trump and my challenge. Even your cats and your dogs and all your pets, even the pets, let them know. Joking aside, it's serious business, but there's a lot of humor since I'm an artist. Standing LGBTQ worldwide, baby. World citizen from Canada right here. So if you didn't know, now you know. Check it out. Dragan versus Trump. Support how you can. Doing, of course, related to world citizenship. My workouts, some of my workouts now are boxing and cardio. So it's going. Spread the word. Do your part. Get on my team. Get on Dragan's team, baby. The other issue that I wanted to discuss was another issue of great importance. This is more of a Canadian issue, although human rights should be a non-sectarian, non-partisan issue today, in my opinion. And the issue is human rights. Not only human rights, but it started. So, somebody from the government of Canada, correct me if I'm wrong, this might be not entirely 100% correct, but it might be related to the Foreign Office, the Foreign Ministry, somebody from the Foreign Ministry of Canada. Anyway, somebody from the government of Canada, if not the Foreign Ministry, somebody in relation to the administration, to the government of Canada, made a comment on Twitter on August 3rd or something, 3rd, 4th, 2nd, a few days ago, not even a week, about releasing human rights activists such as a woman named Badawi, her name's Sawad Badawi or something like that. Might mispronounce it, but it's Badawi. So she calling upon her release, another human rights activists to be released. So somebody from the government of Canada, whether the official organization or somebody who works with Miss Chrystia Freeland, whom Chrystia Freeland is a foreign minister in Canada. So maybe somebody who, even not her necessarily, but somebody represented by the foreign ministry or human rights group organization. And this incited this tweet. Listen to the paradox of this. How the world, how we're such on a trigger mode, how we're such, not able to have a deeper conversation and a dialogue. The Saudi Arabian government, or who's in charge, right, because it's a more autocratic system. Autocratic, of course, means a more sort of more like a dictatorship. Autocratic, right? It's not democratic. It's not liberal. Right? And so they retaliated by recalling the ambassador, Saudi Arabia. And not only that, but supposedly after the 13th of August, they're going to be stopping air traffic. Saudi Arabia and Toronto, just the biggest city in Canada in terms of population. After is my city, Montreal, Hawk Island, baby. So Montreal looks like an island from above. Montreal is actually an island. It's surrounded by one of the biggest rivers in the world called the St. Lawrence River. And it's an island. It has no other contact to continental Canada. It's separated by the river. It goes around it. So it's really an island. It's not Montreal. It's not common for people to say the island of Montreal, or might think about it. Not even Montrealers who live on the city, since it's pretty big, right? It's pretty big. 3.7 million people comprising the metropolitan area. But anyhow, so without digression, so not only that, but they retaliated further. They put a freeze to existing trade negotiations of trade, and a freeze, something with the freezing on the current trade, either just the negotiations for future trade deals for sure, and something to do with trade, like maybe even present ones that were put on hold and what have you, whatever was negotiated in future negotiations. And only plus, even they recalled 5,000, more than 5,000 of Saudi citizens who currently study in Canada. 5,000, that's a lot. Simply because of this tweet that called for the release. myself, I'm trying to always see more than black and white, right? More than black and white, and try to be more understanding. I'm a non-violent person, always asking for peaceful conflict resolutions between individuals, between families, between nation states, right? Motto is together we win. Love. So, what else? What exactly happened? Well, we need to find out more, and myself need to find out more. Who exactly is Miss Badawi? From my understanding, she's a human rights activist that took part in the movement with the driving that gave women in Saudi Arabia the right to push towards the right to drive vehicles in Saudi Arabia, right? Because since only by September last year, the women couldn't drive in Saudi Arabia legally, right? A woman was not allowed to drive legally. So for women's rights, right? So women and other people, they were calling the government of Canada to be, because they were incarcerated, imprisoned, not so long ago, a few weeks ago, or a few days even before the tweet, even like just maybe 24, 48 hours before the tweet, or 72 hours before the tweet. The Canadian tweet, that is. The Canadian tweet just called for the respect of human rights. Nothing dramatic, nothing overly critical. Or myself, I'm always culturally sensitive, you know. But with some things, you can make compromises sometimes, right? It's hard. It's like your values, you're as much as a liberal as I am, you know, and believe in freedom of speech, you know, and as much as understanding of the culture as want to be, don't want to tread the cultural relativist attitude too much, you know. As much as believe in the universality of justice and freedom for all mankind, certain rights of the human being, men and women, and both for that matter, gender neutral, gender fluid, such as myself, non-gender, gender binary, such as myself, gender fluid, androgynous, such as myself. Right? And so it was analyzing the tweet, and it wasn't culturally insensitive. It wasn't, you know, it was very simple, very, of course they could have used the more brothers and sisters of Saudi Arabia. We urge you kindly and politely, release those men and women in prison for a few minutes. Right? But the response was so ferocious. And of course, from my understanding, the now prince, who is the prince heir or king, since it's a monarchy, right? It's still a monarchy in Saudi Arabia. It's a theocratic monarchy. So the rule of law is different. It's not like Canadian, United States, Western liberal democracies where there's a judiciary, there's an executive, you know, and there's a balance of powers. It's not the same. It's more of an executive, right? A monarchy, and the hierarchical monarchy, the king, the monarch, and then the princes, right? And it's hereditary. Hereditary means that it's a succession by law, by line, by the heredity, by one's family. Right? It's not earned, right? It's not unearned by talent, by courage, by wisdom, by trial, testing, and hardships. It's not an earned princehood, or princedom, or kingship, or royalhood, royalty. So they responded, the Saudi government, or the, actually maybe, not sure, maybe even the prince himself responded and said that Canada's interfering in meddling in the affairs of Saudi Arabia, the internal affairs of Saudi Arabia, and they shouldn't have meddled and shouldn't have interfered. In a way, it is an interference, right? Because they called upon those activists, human rights activists, to be released from prison. What a paradox, on Twitter. When we're learning even more, who exactly were those imprisoned, right? Since when? What happened exactly? But generally, was the call for them to be released by Canada, by not Canada, the whole nation. You know, when you say that, it's not, you know, it's not Canada this, America that, Saudi Arabia that. It's not that black and white. There's 37 million Canadians, right, with a lot of different opinions, backgrounds, socioeconomic status, you know. So we have to also take that into consideration. But what I meant to say that the government, or the representing parts of the government, the foreign ministry, whatever have you, who's on behalf of the current ruling administration, the Liberal Party of Canada, with Justin Trudeau as the head prime minister and Chrystia Freeland as the foreign minister. I wonder if it was actually her who did the tweet, or somebody in her ministry, right? But nonetheless, Saudi Arabia called it a interference in the government, in their internal affairs, the nation. And there was even something that somebody posted from Saudi Arabia. This was very weird, very bad thinking, just overall bad thinking on their behalf. I mean, out of taste. There was a post of a picture. A lot of you might have seen it in Canada. It was big news. Post of a plane hitting the CN Tower. Now, if you don't live in Canada, if you're not I've never visited Toronto, or don't know about Canada or Toronto. Even my brothers from the United States, more down south in North America, south of the borders, we say here around Canada, American brothers and sisters down south. CN Tower is a big tower in Toronto, the biggest in terms of height. And there was a plane, somebody from Saudi Arabia, they did a picture and they put like some phrase or something like that. Then the phrase was this, and I remember the phrase was like this: don't stick your nose where it does not belong, right? What do you think? As a world citizens, we have to speak out on those. Sometimes do we compromise as liberals, as universalists, you know, whatever you call yourself, socialists? How much do we compromise with issues like this? How hypocritical are we in our daily lives, in our comments, in our things like that, right? I have to look at our own selves also. And always myself, I'm stressing a peaceful conflict resolution between families, friends, and nations. So anyways, back to what Saudi Arabia, somebody from, because not Saudi Arabia, not the 20-something million people, of course, it's an end, right? When we say that, but we're not conscious of this. See, when we see, just like when we talk about a corporation, it's just a name, it's just a brand, but we personalize it, right? Our discernment and our understanding sometimes hits a wall of illusion, right? And we say Canada. Canada, who from Canada? Me, Adrian A. Dragan. Yeah, what about me? World citizen, LGBTQ proud. What else do you know about me? You know, size shoes I wears? Huh? You know about my spirituality in my heart? Huh? How much do we really know about each other, right? Can go by principles. How much do we really know? We know nothing. I mean, not that we know nothing, we know something, but we still know nothing. So principles. Back to this. The picture was out of taste, poor taste, and don't know what it was thinking. It was very counterproductive. So somebody from Saudi Arabia, in retaliation to this tweet, of course in coupling with the other retaliation, the withdrawing of the ambassador, the freezing of the trade talks, the recalling of the students to come back to Saudi Arabia, more than 5,000 of them, 5,000, right? And also, this picture was a plane. So like I said, if you don't know Toronto too well, check it out. CN Tower is the longest tower in Toronto. They made a plane going into the CN Tower with a phrase, "Don't stick your nose in where it doesn't belong." Poor in taste, very poor in taste. Alluding, of course, to terrorism, to the planes, to 9/11, sort of thing. Bad, poor taste, counterproductive. I'm asking open question. What do you think about this foreign relations? How much can we say that we want universal human rights, like the United Nations Charter tried to imbibe the United Nations, right? It was founded with idealism, but also to be bound with a practical rule of law and order for the world, right? 21st century, 2018. Men and women across the globe. Migration. Multiculturalism. Beautiful. One human race. Can't you get? We're one human race. Arabs, Caucasians, Europeans, Africans, Asians, Latin Americans. We're just one human race, bro. Sis, bro, sis. Can we not be free? Be honest with our feelings, right? Achieve more justice. Right? 21st century. When I was a kid in the 90s, struggled a lot with poverty, Struggled a lot. Not more than others. Don't want to compare with anybody. Just was a lot of pain and suffering, my children. Early adulthood to early adolescence. But I think when I was 11, so seeing a future, was sure that we're gonna have like a one world government, and people are gonna come together, nations, and it's gonna be like world government, world civilization, sort of, like in sort of like, but not a dystopia. I wasn't imagining a dystopia. I was imagining it to be good, prosperity, what have you, in the future. As a kid, looking forward, almost like a sci-fi type of, Aldous Huxley type of vision, or H.G. Wells. Like this is a new world order. It was peace, security, prosperity. Myself am not in a position to finance, to combat hunger, food security? Is poverty here? I'm struggling with poverty here. Myself, financially precarious situation. I have plenty of ideas. I've written countless theories about financial reform, locally, nationally, and internationally. It takes one step at a time, myself included. How much was a struggle just to lose weight, to get fit, and it's still struggling, pain and gain. Of course, there's things in the world around us that, there's like a, what can you call it, like a disruption. To myself, how hard it was for myself to accept that I was bisexual. Went through suicidal thoughts for months and months, almost years. Struggled with suicidal thoughts because I was a bisexual. Struggle with my femininity, and also for my sexuality. Because being bisexual, of course I'm gonna stick out and say to anybody in the world, if you got a problem with any LGBTQ member of my community, it's like a nation, it's an LGBTQ nation, as I see it across the world. If you got a problem with one of them, because they're LGBTQ, or they're bisexual, or lesbian, or gay, gender neutral, then of course you got a problem with me. Right? And now I've seen in the United States of America, my brothers and sisters, of course a lot of millennials, and I don't want to blame millennials for it, but a lot of you, my generation, those born after 1984 or millennial 1982, is it born February 1984 millennial or 1982? Anyways, millennials in the 82 maybe millennials started. A lot of millennials, 25-year-olds, 30-year-olds beginning, they didn't go vote. The United States, they didn't go vote, brothers. You look who you elected. Somebody who can be my grandfather. Could be my grandfather. And yours, millennial, if you're born after 1982 or 1984. Millennial, some people say it's from 1982, some people say maybe it's from 1983, and some from February 1984 or something like that. I'm a millennial myself. Who elected a grandfather? Then you get this wave of populism and nationalism. Then we transcended that. Then we're past that. Then the 20th century teach us nothing. Nationalism caused like 2 world wars, man. 2 world fucking wars, fucker. What the fuck, man? Is it just a dream to dream about world peace, world security, world prosperity? But I know I'm not the only one, though. There's plenty for everybody. Well, greed, financial crimes, giving people corporate bonuses of tens of millions, hundreds of millions. That's a society, that's the democracy, that's what democracy was all it's about. Growing inequality. They're democratic. Is that democratic? Well, one question. I'm digressing now, socioeconomics. I'm asking, is that democratic? And think of specifically of the case of Donald Trump. Not that I have personally against him, nothing. I don't want him harmed, I don't want him evil. I'm a peaceful guy. I will defend myself to death, though. Better bet. But he was born and he got the wealth, millions of dollars from his father. How is it equality that we have the same opportunities when somebody leaves his daughter or son a few $1,000,000 to start off life? When somebody's with a single mom struggling on minimum wage, cleaning lady, restaurant server, you know, how can you say that that's equal opportunity? You gotta think. We gotta discern. Well, what do we do? Is it really that much class mobility in today's Western world? Open to hearing from others on this topic. Anyways, digressed into socioeconomics is because I have my work experience for Walmart as a kid for like a year, something more than a year when I was in high school. It was hard work, night shift, feeling that hard work, feeling the things never got a raise, and it was minimum wage, of course. Then worked years for Sears, worked as a receptionist for years and years and years. And truth be told, never made more than $13 an hour. And a lot of people are in the same boat, working years and years and years. Is raising the minimum wage a solution? I think that could be. It's a bit. What else? Financial education? Definitely. So I have launched an initiative too, for my own learning and for others to collaborate to learn finance, the universe of finance. Right? Millennials were beginning to question a lot of the things that we were thought to be good, you know. It's just capitalism. Can we have a balance? You know? Still questions. Got some answers, but don't have all the answers. This is one of them. Right. So back to the issue with Saudi Arabia. I'm really curious to see how it's gonna play out. What's gonna happen? Hopefully, peaceful resolution. Peace, peace, peace. You know? Some of these issues seem like a paradox, right? But do believe that there's a good is coming, you know, a certain good is coming. Good. Coffee with Dragan, just an artist, a poet, songwriter, social theorist. Haven't shared many of my theories about financial reform, social reform and such. Just in the past videos have mentioned them perhaps briefly or so. Briefly. What a mess. What a mess. Let me know what topics you want discussed. Heat wave continues. We broke records here in July for Montreal, for Canada. Hottest July on record, perhaps not only in Montreal but across Canada, and perhaps even if the world, perhaps even the hottest July in the world. That is, of course, in the summer of the northern hemisphere, up from the equator, that is. And it seems that we're set to have the hottest August, at least in Montreal and Canada, perhaps North America, perhaps even the western, like northern hemisphere or summer. Anyways, to make a call from the heart to fathers, if you listen to this, if you were strong enough and tolerant enough and spiritually enough to tolerate these 33 minutes and 37 seconds, I want you to contact me, to join me on Facebook, either come work out with me, message me privately, because I want us to get together to try to discuss, converse, millennials especially, my LGBTQ, worldwide nation, world citizens, non-binaries, one race, the human race. That's how I see it. You know, gotta work together. So if you hear this on the World Wide Web, YouTube, the internet, become a brother, become a sister, become a bro, sis. Yours truly, Adrian H. Dragan, your poet at the Public Poetry Project, and also personal trainer at the World Citizens Gym. Gonna be expanding it. My vision, my mission for it is slowly unraveling, revealing. What can I say? Last words: world peace, world security, world prosperity.